Let Us Be Muslims by Sayyid Abul Mawdudi, edited by the late brother Khurram Murad. May Allah bless your souls. Chapter 17, Meaning and Blessings of the Fasting. Brothers in Islam, the second act of worship that Allah enjoins upon us is Sawum, or the fasting. It means abstaining from dawn to sunset, from eating, drinking, and sex. Like the prayer, this act of worship has been part of the Sharia given by all the prophets. Their followers fasted as we do. However, the rules, the number of days, and the periods prescribed for fasting have varied from one Sharia to another. Today, although fasting remains a part of most religions in some form or other, people have often changed its original form by accretion of their own. O believers, fasting is ordained for you even as it was ordained for those before you. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat 183. Why has this particular act of worship been practiced in all eras? Life of worship. Islam aims to transform the whole life of man into a life of worship. He is born a slave, and to serve his Creator is his very nature. Not for a single moment should he live without worshipping. That is surrendering to him in thoughts and deeds. He must remain conscious of what he ought to do to earn the pleasure of God and what he ought to avoid. He should then walk on the path leading to Allah's pleasure, eschew that leading to his displeasure, just as he would avoid the embers of a fire. Only when our entire lives have become model on this pattern can we be considered to have worshipped our Master, as is his due, and is as having fulfilled the purpose of I have not created jinn and man except to worship me. Rituals lead to a life of worship. The real purpose of ritual acts of worship, Salah, Zakat, Sawum, and Hajj, is to help us come to that life of total worship. Never think that you can acquit yourself of what you owe to Allah only if you bow and prostrate yourself 5 times a day, suffer hunger and thirst from dawn to sunset for 30 days in Ramadan, and if wealthy, give the alms and perform the pilgrimage once in a lifetime. Doing all this does not release you from bondage to him, nor make you free to do whatever you like. Rather, one of the underlying purpose of enjoining this ritual upon you is to develop you so that you can transform your whole life into the ibadah of God. How does the fasting prepare us for this lifelong act of worship? How does fasting develop us? Exclusively private worship. All acts of worship include some outward physical movements, but not the fasting. In the prayer, you stand, sit, bow down, and prostrate yourself. All these acts are visible to everybody. In Hajj, you undertake a long journey and travel with thousands of people. Zakah too is known to at least 2 persons, the giver and the receiver. None of these acts can remain concealed. If you perform them, other people will come to know about it. But the fasting is a form of ibadah which is entirely private. The all-knowing God alone knows that his servant is fasting. You are required to take food before dawn, sahur, and abstain from eating and drinking anything till the time to break the fast, that is the iftar. But if you secretly eat and drink in between, nobody except God will know about it. Sure signs of faith. The private nature of the fasting ensures that you have strong faith in God as the one who knows everything. Only if your faith is true and strong, you will not dream of eating or drinking secretly, even in the hottest summer. When your throats dry up with thirst, you will not drink a drop of water, even when you feel faint with hunger. When life itself seems to be ebbing, you will not eat anything. To do all this, see what firm conviction must you have, and that nothing whatsoever can ever be concealed from your God. How strong must be his fear in your hearts. You will keep your fast for about 360 hours for 1 full month, only because of your profound belief in the reward and punishment of the hereafter. Had you the slightest doubt in that you have to meet your Maker, you would not complete such a fast. What doubt in hearts no such resolve can be fulfilled? Month-long training. In this way, does Allah put to the end a Muslim's faith for a full month every year. To the extent you emerge secretly from this trial, your faith becomes firmer and deeper. The fasting is both a trial and a training. If you deposit anything on trust with somebody, you are, as it were, testing his integrity. If he does not abuse your trust, he does not only passes his test, but at the same time also develop greater strength to bear the burden of greater trust in future. Similarly, Allah puts your faith to severe tests continuously for 1 month, many long hours a day. If you emerge triumphant from the test, more strength develops in you to refrain from other sins. This is what the Quran says. O believer, fasting is ordained for you, even as it was ordained for those before you, that you might attain to God consciousness. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 183. Practicing obedience. The fasting has another characteristic. It makes us obey the injunction of the Sharia with sustained intensity for prolonged periods of time. Salah lasts only a few minutes at a time. Zakat is paid only once a year. Although the time spent on Hajj is long, it may come only once in a lifetime, and for many not at all. In the school of the fasting, on the other hand, you are trained to obey the Sharia of the Prophet Muhammad, blessing and peace be on him, for 1 full month every year, day and night. You have to get up early before dawn for sahur, stop all eating and drinking precisely at a certain time, do certain activities, and abstain from certain activities during the day. Break your fast, iftar, in the evening at exactly a certain time. Then for Humoon, only you relax before you hurry for long late evening prayers of Tarawih. Every year for 1 full month from dawn to sunset, and from sunset to dawn, you, like a soldier in an army, continuously live a disciplined life, following certain rules all the time. You are then sent back to continue your normal duties for 11 months, so that the training you have received for 1 month may be reflected in your conduct, and if any deficiencies is found, it may be made up the next year. Communal fasting. Training of such profound nature cannot be imparted to each individual separately. Like how an army is trained, everyone has to act at the same time at the sound of the bugle, so that they may develop the team spirit, learn to act in unison, and assist each other in the task of development. Whatever one person lacks may be made up by another. Whatever deficiency remains in him may be compensated by yet another. The month of Ramadan is earmarked for all Muslims to fast together, to ensure similar results. This measure turns individual ibadah into collective ibadah. Just as the number one, when multiplied by thousands, become a formidable number, so the moral and spiritual benefits accruing from the fasting by one person alone are increased a millionfold if 1,000,000 people fast together. The month of Ramadan suffuses the whole environment with the spirit of righteousness, virtue, and piety. As flowers blossom in spring, so does taqwa in Ramadan. Everyone tries extra hard to avoid sin, and if they lapse, they know they can count on the help of their many other brothers who are fasting with them. The desire automatically arises in every heart to do good work, to feed the poor, to clothe the naked, to help those in distress, to participate in any good work being done anywhere, and to prevent evil. Just as plants have their season of flowering, so Ramadan is the time of the year for the growth and flourishing of goods and righteousness. For this reason, the Prophet, blessing and peace be on him, said, "Every good deed of a man is granted manifold increases, 10 to 700 times. But, says Allah, fasting is an exception. It is exclusively for me, and I reward for it as much as I wish." Bukhari and Muslim. All good deeds grow. This shows in proportion to both the intention of the doer as well as the result, but that there is a limit to their growth. The fasting, however, has no such limit. In Ramadan, in the season of the flourishing of good and piety, not one but millions of people jointly water their gardens of virtue. The more you sincerely perform good deeds in this month, and the greater you avail themselves of its blessing, the more will you radiate their benefits to our other brothers. The more you sustain the impact of the fasting on your life during the subsequent 11 months, the more will our garden flourish, and flourish without limit. Should its growth become inhibited, the fault must lie with you. Where are the results? You are now probably saying to yourself, we do observe the fasting and perform the prayers, but the promised results are nowhere to be seen. One reason for this situation I have explained earlier. After snapping the vital links between various parts of Islam and injecting into it many new things, you cannot expect the same result as from the whole. A second reason is that the way you look at the ibadah has changed. You believe that mere abstention from food and drink from morning till evening amounts to ibadah. Once you do all these things, you have worshipped Allah. 99% or even more amongst you are unmindful of the real spirit of ibadah, which should permeate all your actions. That is why the acts of ibadah do not produce their full benefit. For everything in Islam depends on intention and understanding. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah al-aliyyil azim, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah al-aliyyil azim, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah al-aliyyil azim.